Hello and welcome back to my ISS Vanguard strategy campaign, where we're playing through an entire campaign of ISS Vanguard with a focus on making more strategic choices. Again, I'm in the midst of another Vanguard campaign, so I have a pretty good handle on the rules, but as always, if you catch anything that I got wrong, let me know. So let's dive right into it. Just a recap from our last session, we did the shipbook phase. After exploring Pellucid and we scanned Brimstone and started preparing to go down to the planet there. So let's just run through again very quickly what we know about Brimstone as we are getting ready to attempt our landing. So we were able to fully scan the card. We know that we are looking for additional armor. We know that scouting and gathering are going to be frequent checks. And the biomes are desert and volcanic activity. Don't know how much. We don't really have any cards yet having to do with biomes, but that's information we've got. We know there's a wandering threat of the weather variety. And for biological curio, we're looking for xenology and biology symbols. So, and then a quick reminder of who we're sending on the crew. From engineering, we've got Jesse Bennett, who does have that biology ability. And just wanted to, this is a good opportunity. I was talking in the last video about how I could use Jesse's ability to follow around Mark and Recon as he uses his jetpack. Thanks to Thomas for pointing out in the comments, I actually can't do that because her ability says when another crew member travels with a capital T from your sector, meaning they're performing the travel action, spend a charge to move with them, ignoring path icons. Using the jetpack to move is not a travel action. It's just a plain old action. So we'll still look to make use of ability, but that particular combo is not going to work out. So thanks again to Thomas for catching that and let me know. In science, we're bringing Keith Wood, who's got the technology conversion we may or may not need. He's got a pretty decent ability, but really what we're excited about is he's got 4 charges, which means he can use that card that lets him get leads. And we'll go over what cards people are taking in a sec. From security, for the first time, we are bringing down Cheryl Hayes. We don't know if maybe again, we'll need that protectability against the threat, but we definitely like her ability to turn a die to any side. We could even turn something into a double Vanguard to nail 2 successes. And last but not least, we have our intrepid leader, Mark Poulson. This will be his second away mission. He's the first time we're using rank 2, so that's going to mix things up a bit. One of the things we're doing is I am playing with the personnel files expansion, which looks like this. And has some upgraded cards, which look like this, which we'll get into. So once a crew member reaches level 2, they get additional backstory and a side quest that if you can complete is going to give them some additional ability, additional conversion ability. So let's find out a bit more about Mark Poulson. So we've got his card here is going to show to go to log 55. So let's pop that open. All right, and if you remember, Mark was a musician. We learned from a little snippet we got from his file. Personal communication, Mark Poulson. Dear Lyra, thanks for writing to me. To answer your question, I'm not sure I'm done with my music after all. I thought I'd had my fill of the stage, but it's nagging in the back of my mind, and it's only getting stronger. I'm studying mission briefings, and before I know it, I'm tapping out a new rhythm. An alien sunrise glints off a lander, and a whole lighting sequence forms in my mind. I stare from a viewing port, and someone asks me what tune I'm humming under my breath. It's fresh, it's expansive and lonely, alien, yet exciting and hopeful. Inspiration assails me everywhere. It has me charged up and restless. Instead of sleeping, I find myself layering riffs atop rhythms. It has to come out somehow, but the irony is that the source of the inspiration is what's stopping me from acting upon it. Even if I had the equipment to create new music, when would I have the time, and who's going to hear it? Guess you always want what you can't have. Best, Mark. That story's kind of tragic to think, given how long it takes messages to get back. I don't even know if they're sending this one. Is Lyra ever even going to hear from Mark? I don't know, but I guess, he's hoping that she will, and we're hoping too. So let's see what his goal is. His objective: each time you use your crew member ability to ignore the result of a danger die that would make you gain an injury, progress the track on this card by 1. Reset this track and reset this card at the end of planetary exploration. So this track works just like any of the other tracks in the game, which is to say, like the time tracks. So you start with the token off the card, and then the first time you complete it, second time, and then we're going to have to do it 3 times. He does have 3 charges, but to get this 3 times, we're going to have otherwise gotten an injury 3 times, which I guess Mark's looking for inspiration, willing to go out into danger and just put himself at great risk, so that maybe being in the midst of that danger, he can record what he's hearing, seeing. A little concerned that might kind of go against him being the team lead and doing what's best for the team, but we'll see how it works out. We're gonna try and let Mark do that. And if he succeeds, then we'll get to flip this card over. For now, I'm just going to put it over here by his player board. Next up, let's take a look at the cards that I'm giving to the crew. So I'm just gonna, for the 3 rank 1s, remember there are 14 cards. You could take all 14 if you want. I find it's better to keep a lean deck, generally 10 cards. Every now and then, depending on the situation, I might go a little bit over that. But in this case, all my rank 1s are just going to take 10 cards. These are the cards I want to add that aren't part of the basic for Jesse. Now that we are using some mission equipment, anytime you're in a sector with mission equipment, we can use the top ability to refresh a blue die, which is fantastic. And then the bottom, we could spend a construction during a dice check. If we have no small equipment card, we can choose one from the armory. Now, there's only one available. There are none in the armory right now, but we have this portable probe, which, if we use it to add gathering and defense or a red die to a dice check, it does go back to the armory, so then potentially we could get it back with the overdrive card. So we'll throw a couple of those in. Those seem pretty good. In order to make room for them, I'm going to be taking out these 2 cards. I don't want to take out, Jesse's got 4 blue dice. Don't want to take out a reroll blue, so I took out a reroll green and a reroll red. So those are out. Moving over to science, I like all the slightly advanced rank 1 cards, right? We love this. Discard 1 charge to gain 2 lead tokens of any type. Again, Keith has 4 charges, so we're going to be able to do that. We'll throw both copies of that in. There's a couple biomes listed. I don't know if there's going to be an area that's both a desert and volcanic, but if there is, it's got those 2 biome icons. Reroll 2 dice. And I like the bottom ability, being able to move lead tokens around. So we're going to add those into the mix. And to make room for them, we're going to pull 4 cards. We're going to take out 1 copy of Recompiling Work. With that ability to move 3 leads, we don't need both of these. So we'll leave 1 in. That potential to refresh 2 blue dice could be good. And then the other cards, we're just going to take out some of the rerolls. So a couple of blues and a red. Again, most of Keith's dice are green. So, he can certainly use these when assisting, but mostly you want to make sure you have cards to be able to affect your own dice checks. Moving on to security, only adding 1 card in. We do have a threat now. So you got the top ability. When another crew member in your sector or a connected sector would get an injury, you get a wounded injury instead. That can be really good later on in the game, and maybe in this scenario. If you're dealing with something where you're looking at exhaustion, which is nasty, being able to sub that out to wounded is, as injuries go, not too bad. So maybe we use that. I'm thinking more about the second ability, which is during a dice check, you can spend a defense or a strength to move a threat out of your sector. So potentially that could come in really handy. We'll have a better idea once we see what the threat is, but we'll throw a copy in, maybe to give that a try. And what are we going to pull? We're just going to take out one of these dodges. So, all right, now getting a bit more involved, we have Mark, who is rank 2. There are 10 rank 2 cards. It's the 14 rank 1. So we got a lot of choices. I'm still going to keep the deck at 10 cards. I don't really see a benefit in this case to going above that. So kind of my process is the first thing I did was to go through and say, okay, the rank 2s are generally better, so what do I want to bring? I like focus, especially, and I'll remind you, let's see, from equipment from last time, right? We're going to be using the live streaming rig. So other crew members may assist you from other sectors. That means we're always going to be able to have other crew funnel a whole bunch of dice to Mark. And the reason I bring that up is because so the way focus works is, and we're mainly just looking at the top ability, move 2 dice from the roll pool to their owner's spent pool to turn one other to the Vanguard result. So basically, going into a die check, if you have one of these cards of focus, then basically you got, it's for 3 dice, you can guarantee that you're going to get a Vanguard result, right? You want to be prepared for what other 2 dice you might remove from that check to turn that other one into a Vanguard. So if you need, if you need 3 symbols to succeed at the check and you're planning on maybe using focus, you got to go in with 5 dice. Because 2 of them are going to get spent to play this card. But again, with the live stream rig, I'm going to have a really easy time getting help from other people to get those extra dice. So for that reason, definitely 2 copies. The bottom ability could be really good too, because it lets you cycle some of your better cards, potentially, as you work through your deck. So we'll take 2 copies of Focus. Another card that I feel like is a no-brainer with Recon is reroll any number of green. That's a lot better than reroll a green. And on the bottom, you've got the ability to draw 3 cards. So a lot more deck cycling, which being able to cycle the deck is going to let you get to multiple uses out of some really clutch cards like Uplifting Speech, another one of my favorites. Before an action, move 1 crew member from your sector to a connected sector, ignoring the path icons. There's just a free bonus movement. So this is an area where Mark can. So if Mark's about to take off the jetpack, before he heads off, he could use the Uplifting Speech to move along another crew member or send them in opposite direction, right? It doesn't have to be the same direction he plans on going. The bottom ability, a little bit more difficult to play, but move any number of crew members from your sector to a connected sector or from a connected sector to your sector, ignoring the path icons. So a lot of flexibility in terms of being able to move your crew around. So we grabbed 2 of those. The only other rank 2 I took for this go is grabbed 1 copy of Safety Protocol, which has a couple of good things. One, it lets you dump. The top ability is really the main thing. If there's an area where an accident would really hurt, that'll let me get rid of it. The bottom ability, it's more likely to come into play when you're using rank 3 cards, which can sometimes require 3 different abilities for 3 different symbols for a dice check. In this case, so that use the dice combination effect from a chosen card in your hand. So if I was sitting on both these cards and I wanted to use the special ability of Uplifting Speech on the bottom, which is going to cost me normally 2 symbols, or if I have this card in my hand, I could just spend it with I'd need a Vanguard, but I could spend it and that would pay the cost of that. So that could be pretty good. I threw in 2 copies of Hideout. Again, one of my favorite cards. End your turn, do not draw an event card, or reduce the global time track by up to 2 times. I love being able to control that, to have a little bit more. This ability is certainly more powerful if you're only playing with 2 characters, because now it's like every other turn. You could potentially, if you can cycle your deck, maybe not every other turn, but it's certainly more often you'd be able to use this effect. But even so, there are definitely times where you don't want, and with threats on the board, where you really don't want that risk of having the time tracks move. So Hideout can be great for that. 2 copies in the deck. 1 more spot. I decided with all these rank 2s, we do have the Focus, which is even better than a reroll in some ways, because it's going to give you the exact result you need. But we did drop a lot of reroll abilities, so we are going to throw in just a single respite to have that. Also, I'm okay with not having too many reroll abilities for Mark, because again, everybody else can assist him no matter what and no matter where he is, because of that live stream rig. So if I weren't taking the live stream rig, maybe I'd put a few more rerolls in the deck. Hard to say. But like I said, there's a lot of factors to take into account when you're choosing what cards to bring on a given mission. So the next step is to, we've prepared the lander. Actually, technically, you prepare the lander before you choose your crew. But just, again, quickly running through, we're taking the Space Ranger. We've bumped up the shields. And, again, we only have the one utility mod, the emergency broadcast system. Crew members may discard 1 charge each and move the mod to the waiting envelope. Gain 2 supplies. I think there's a better chance we might use this if we need more supplies. We'll just keep that in mind, that everybody's got to spend a charge. I think it was a little bit more difficult to decide last time because we had a couple different abilities that were effectively like a rest or a partial rest. It's not so black and white this time. So we'll definitely keep open an option that we may use that utility mod. We got 6 supplies. We got a discovery limit of 5, and with that, we are ready to attempt the landing. Okay, we're going to go to log 267. Let's see what happens.
We're approaching our target, Vanguard.
Starting orbital maneuvers. Brace for deceleration.
This place looks like hell. We're detecting high concentrations of sulfides in the atmosphere. The seismic activity is off the charts. If we wanted to find life, we're here a couple of millennia too early.
The builders had a reason to mark these coordinates. Besides, the science team believes this planet's thermal vents could show vigorous bacterial activity.
We'll make sure to call home when we find these vigorous bacteria.
Landing sequence initiated.
Godspeed, away team.
Vanguard, we are detecting substantial amounts of space debris on our approach vector, beginning evasive maneuvers.
Okay. Does your lander have at least 4 armor and 4 agility? No. We do have the 4 armor. From agility standpoint, it's only at 2. Worth noting, there's no way we could do that on this configuration. So, maybe a better lander or better lander mods. But we're not there yet. So the answer is no. So we are going to have to go through. And this is something you'll find as you go through more planets, that there is, if you have the right combination of stats, then you can basically skip the landing process. But we're going to put it on the S mark, which is going to be, we're going to need to go through this 3 times. So we're going to go ahead and roll a die and see what happens. All right, that's a 1, which is the common result. It's a critical hit. Don't like the idea that critical hits are common. But let's see. So we got 2 choices. We can expose the cockpit. Oh, sorry, let me pop up the app. We can expose the cockpit if our armor is 4 more. It is. Then each crew member would have to spend a die. Otherwise, each crew member gains a wounded injury. Well, that's no good. And we would damage the lander. Or we can expose the cargo bay. We lose 2 supplies and return 2 random equipment to the armory. Ouch. I was talking about this last thing, right? So we have our equipment that's on our lander, and then we have the small equipment, right? So pretty sure that in this case, if we're discarding 2 random equipment cards, it would be from this stack, not from the small equipment. Either way, we are not going to do that. We're going to spend a die each, expose the cockpit. Yes, it's 4 or more. Each crew member loses 1. Progress the landing marker 1 track. All right, we got to go through this process 2 more times. And before we do that, we do have to spend the die for everybody. I'll just very quickly run through. I was looking for dice that I don't explicitly know that I'm going to need, and I may have to, if I roll a 1 again, I'm going to have to lose more dice or spend more dice. So tech, science, defense, and in the case over here, strength. And I still have most of those abilities represented somewhere. If we need them, then I've got them. So, all right, let's go back and see what happens when we continue our landing procedure. Okay, this time we've got the uncommon result. Let's find out what that is. All right, cargo damage. Lovely. All right, well, we love this one. Destroyed supplies, we don't, but it's lose 4 supplies reduced by the armor. Our armor's 4, we lose 0 supplies. Fantastic. Progress the landing track marker 1 spot, and we're going to have to go through and do it one more time. All right, here we go. Let's get that result again. I like that one. Nope. Everyone's going to have to spend another die, so I'm going to take a moment and think about what that is, and then we'll take a look. All right, in this case, I realized none of my crew members have a red conversion ability, so red die, red die, red die. I did not want to give up Mark's last red die. He needs that for his jetpack, so... and I really don't want to give up any of his green dice because they're all things that, you know, that the Brimstone card is telling us we're going to need here. So I did give up... one of his basic blue dice. And again, he's probably going to be charting ahead and is not going to be in as much position to assist other people, though maybe Cheryl will insist on staying close behind him. We'll find out. Meanwhile, the good news is that's the last time we're going to have to do that. We did do the critical hit. We expose the cockpit again. Yes, it's 4 or more. Each crew member spends 1, which we did. We progress the landing track. Now it is at the end. All right, so this is interesting. This is the first time we've had to do this. Open the Planetopedia, and we have to roll a d10. So I'm going to roll the d10 first, and then we'll get it set up. All right, so we'll actually do things in order. I've opened up the Planetopedia. I haven't set anything up, just told us to open it up. So now we will go ahead and roll a 10-sided die, and it is going to be an 8. So let's see what that means. Nothing happens. If the dust storm is the first threat you encounter, remember to check the threat rules. Except it said nothing happens. So is there a dust storm? Is there not a dust storm? I guess we'll find out as we continue through. All right, so we're going to go to page 24 and begin the planetary exploration. Okay, so I just took a moment to kind of look, and this is another example of where using the app doesn't give you the full information as looking in the logbook. I checked in the logbook to see, well, what are these other 3 choices? It's actually, the first 2 options are going to spawn the dust storm on the planet. The third option isn't, so probably in the app they shouldn't even mention anything about the dust storm if you got that 6 to 9 result. I do think since like we're going for a strategy campaign here, yeah, it's lucky, and this is going to be easier to not have the dust storm. I think it'd be more interesting for my play and for the video to actually have to deal with the dust storm and see what that's all about. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll until I get a result between 0 to 5. So, all right. So there's a 0. We will go ahead, go into the app, and make things harder for ourselves. Place the dust storm threat card in the indicated space above the planet port. Place the dust storm standee in sector 2+. I have the really cool miniatures. I want to use them. If the dust storm is the first threat you've encountered, right, tells you to check the threat rules. And then open page 24 to begin the procedure. Okay, so we've got the game board mostly set up. We've got our dust storm miniature over in sector 2. We've got all of our crew and our lander set up down in sector 1. We've distributed equipment mostly by section. The one thing in the med kit decided to give to our security representative, Cheryl, who's also got that ability to take wounds on herself. So potentially, you know, she may end up being the one most likely to need the med kit, or she'll be the one using it on somebody else. There are a couple of other things we need to do, right? We're instructed to choose one M10 mission at random. So shuffle these up, and we'll take the middle one, which is going to be, let's take a look at our mission. Okay, scavenger hunt. Our mission is to land and survey the surface, gathering any resources and samples we can. Our objective is to have at least 3 discoveries on your lander board, and when we fill the objective, we discard this mission and gain a success. So that should not be a problem. We were going to be looking for discoveries anyway. Definitely worth noting, right, that's our mission, but that's not the reason we came. That's just part of it. So we'll work on getting our 3 discoveries, but we're going to want to accomplish as much as we can down here and not rush to get off the planet. So next up, we need to choose a rank up card. So we're going to shuffle up the rank up deck, and we're going to lay out 2 options and see which one we want to do. Okay. So, let's see. We can either, anytime during planetary exploration, we can do reckless research. I mean, that sounds like exactly the kind of thing that Mark would be into. I'm sure there's a good song in there somewhere. So, only in a sector with plant life, the ruins, and I got to double check what those other symbols are. But let me take a quick look at the board and see if we actually have any of those symbols. Okay, yeah, looking at the board, there is, as advertised, plenty of desert. There's some volcanic activity. There's lots of rocky terrain. There is, however, none of the symbols on that card. So let's take a look at our other rank up option. At the end of the planetary exploration, flip this card if all crew members have 1 or fewer injury cards. Well, we already know that Mark's going to be in a really good shape to not get injured. So, I mean, we're going to take this card, right? Because the other one, we don't even know if any of these are going to show up, and it's going to be an option. So this is our rank up. But while we're talking about the potential to get injuries, now's probably a good time to look at the threat we know about, the dust storm, and to see what it does. So shifting and unpredictable, I don't know how unpredictable it is. We'll get to that. This storm will try to catch us by surprise. Yeah, it's not going to work. Because right here is laid out, we know exactly what it's going to do. It's got 3 different abilities that might activate in a prescribed order as it moves through the track. Counter sprint, move the dust storm to the lowest numbered connected sector. Clockwise spin, move it to the highest number connected sector. And then gale, each crew member in the sector with the dust storm has to spend 3 dice. Ouch. That's almost as much as a full rest. Remember, we've got 7 dice now, so rest is going to give us back 4 dice. That's still really nasty. So let's look at the progression, and kind of, Vadas is up above. Kind of, remember, he was the one who first noticed, scanning the planet, that there was a dust storm down here, and I think he's been tracking its movements as they were doing their landing, and has actually found, in true chaos theory, there is a very predictable pattern to this dust storm, and fortunately, he's relayed that to the team. So let's take a look. So the dust storm's going to start. It tells us start in Sector 2. And the first action is just going to be a plain old counter spin. Move the dust storm to the lowest number connected sector. So from here, right, it's connected to down here to 1. And that is actually the only, and it's also connected over here 5. So it's going to move down here. So its first movement is going to move down to where our crew is. That's not so bad, but the second time it's going to gale. So the second time it hits, everyone there is going to get nailed. And then it's going to clockwise spin, which is to move to the highest number connected sector. So this time it's going to head over here to Sector 3, and then it's going to gale again and hit everybody there. On the third go, it's going to clockwise spin again, so it's going to again move to the highest connected, which is going to be Sector 4 over here. It's going to gale. And then the fourth step of the track, it's going to gale, so it's going to hit there. Then it's going to counter spin, so now it's going to go to the lowest connected sector. It's going to come back here, and it's going to gale. Then we're going to reset the track. So basically it's going lowest, highest, highest, lowest. So from here, it's going to go low, high, high, low, and back and forth. So we know that once the dust storm gets moving, it's just going to circulate through those three sectors. So we just need to kind of plan accordingly and not get caught flat-footed. All right, so we've chosen our rank up, we've laid everything out on the board, we've drawn cards for everybody. All that really remains now is to take a look at where we are and who's going to go first. So if we take a look at this area of the planet, we have a fractured plane. So we are not able to leave this area until we resolve it. Finding a way off this plateau will take time. What hides within its deep, dark ravines? So we have two options here. We can survey the surface. We just need a red and a green, and we're going to replace this with PO85 and then potentially be able to get out of here. And if we fail, if we get an accident, it's not even fail, if we just get an accident, then we're going to have to go to log 42, and probably something bad's going to happen, and there is no arrow, so we would then have to do the check again. Or we can survey the ravines. We do have to roll danger die A when we're doing that, but if we're successful, getting 2 scouting, we gain a unique discovery, and then gain 2 microorganism leads and replace with a random P160 card, which also hopefully will allow us to leave. Okay, so that's the fractured plane. Looking over, just seeing what else is on here in terms of the path that the dust storm is going to take, because I kind of want to just get out of its path and not as soon as we can, not have to spend all those dice. So the thermal vents, we can get a success there, which we're probably going to have to do at some point, because if we want to rank up Mark, we're going to need 6 successes in order for him to rank up. Only 3 for everybody else, but we're really going to try and get all 6 of those successes. So we are probably going to need to send somebody over there to gain the 2 microorganism leads, gain a success, and then replace with P card 162, and we'll see what happens. So that's on that board. And then there's going to be more stuff undoubtedly to explore. Quick note, you notice on Sector 4, it's, and let me drag this down a bit. You can see it's got some icons, but there's no space for a card. And the reason is there's never going to be a card there. It's just a means to move through. It's just to make travel longer and have a spot in between. Whereas something like, any of these other ones like Sector 2, which says go to log 25, that probably is going to get a POI card and something new is going to show up there. Okay, so this is pretty wild. It was a lot for me to consider as I was trying to figure out. Ultimately, I am going to have Mark go first, and I even positioned the token. My original thought in setting up the crew was I would have Jessie go first, because I want her to be able to drop the mining probe. As soon as I can get that into play, the better, because that's going to progress with time tracks. Here's the problem. That dust storm is coming as soon as we draw an event, and I don't want to risk it. I want to have a prolonged time on this planet. So now when it moves here, that's... You know what? Actually, okay. I take it back. Having even just said that, I am going to have Jessie go first, and then I'm going to explain my reasoning. So I was worried about the dust storm coming and hitting us, but the dust storm's first action is just to move. Doesn't actually gale. It would be the next time. So Jessie can go first, and even if we draw an event that causes the dust storm to move, it'll move on, but then we will get to move to Mark's turn. The other thing I was thinking, right, I was looking up, could I change the player order? I guess technically, right, if you're sitting around the table at any time, you could just change position, but that is not in the ship book. It's not in the rules. It does specifically say as part of the landing, you will choose who goes first, or post planetary exploration. So you do get to take in all the information before deciding who goes first. But I think it would be against the spirit of the game for me to move these characters around, right? If I wanted, maybe I decide, Mark's going to go first, so I move Jessie over to second. I have to go with my original thinking, which was I would just have Jessie go first and Mark go second. That is actually what I'm going to do, because on Mark's turn, I did actually draw one of his uplifting speech cards. So his turn is going to be pretty funky, I think. And he, right off the bat, is going to show us just how effective a leader he can be. But before we get there, we're going to start. We're going to start with Jesse's turn. And I think for her first action, she is going to drop that mining probe into play. And to do that, she's going to have to spend a red or a blue die. I mean, I'll probably be resting before I get anywhere to use these things. But that said, I'm looking at the other half of the planet, and there is gathering, there is construction. I don't see anything on the board yet that requires defense, so I'm going to spend her basic die, her blue basic die, and that is going to get the mining probe into play. And I do have a mining probe token, which is going to go here in the lander sector to show, remember, she does have some cards, not currently in her hand, but the trigger off of having mission equipment in her sector. So now we've got the mining probe in play, and hopefully that'll help us not only get some mineral discoveries, also complete our mission. Speaking of which, let's take a quick look at the other part of the Brimstone map. All right, so Brimstone, codename 81 INFB, a very young, violent planet characterized by heavy seismic and geothermal activity. Its acidic atmosphere is rich in corrosive sulfides. Scans also reveal rich mineral deposits, vast cave systems, and liquid water pools. There are 2 unique discoveries available. That's the random M10 mission, and volcanic fumes is our global condition. The hot springs and corrosive fumes make this ground hazardous to tread. We do have the ability to spend a Xeno symbol to gain a microorganism lead whenever we do a dice check. Traveling is just going to be rolling a die, but interesting. So we have to roll a die. But if we get an accident, then we're going to have to roll the a danger die. And then there is a red arrow moving up. Then we move to a connected sector. Boy, I'm thinking Mark may just be choosing the danger, as Dr. McCoy once said. And then we got a time track replaced with a random card, G03. So, all right, so that's pretty interesting. Stuff to think about. Looking back at the game board, so we have taken Jesse's first action. She has another action. It's kind of risky. But no, I'm going to make sure that things work out the way I want them to. So I think she's not going to move. I think for her action, she is just going to prepare. Actually, well, I could have her. No, you know what? There's no reason she couldn't do this ability. Well, the only reason to not do it is I need those 2 Recons symbols. She doesn't have any. Yes, other people can loan her dice, but it's Mark who's got the ability to convert. So yeah, I think her second action is just going to be to prepare and draw a card. And I could have tried to do a dice check. I don't want to spend any dice. I could have done that before I drew the card. This is better. I can. This was kind of what I was hoping for, was the ability to re-roll a green die. So I'm going to discard Catch a Breath, which lets her re-roll a red die. Green is what we're going to be looking at for the next action. So that is the end of Jesse's turn, which means we're going to draw an event. I'm going to bring this over to Mark so we know it's his turn next. All right, we've shuffled up our event deck. A whole bunch of symbols on here. So the dust storm is not even moving, it looks like. Except, are there any? Yeah, there we go. We got desert and rocky terrain. Yes, desert. There is low visibility. Ugh. Lose 1 supplies or roll danger die A. All right, I'm not ready to start losing supplies. So we will take our chance. So we'll go ahead and we'll roll the die and see what happens. And it's a 3. Nothing happens. Whew. All right, so if we had rolled a 2, she would have gotten wounded, or yeah, but she didn't. So all good. Okay, so now it's Mark's turn, and like I said, things are gonna get a little bit wonky here. The first thing, oh, you know what? And I just realized I was talking about just Jessie move. She couldn't have moved because we can't leave this sector yet. We have to resolve something and get a POI down here. So let's jump over and take another look at the planet. And there is the correct map. So we've got this fractured plane, right? And we're gonna try and do the second test. We definitely want that unique discovery. So we're gonna need 2 symbols. So now the no-brainer for Mark is to roll his basic die and his scouting die. And the question then is, do we need any more than that? He can reroll any number of green dice. We've got multiple rerolls coming from Jessie. If your sector has at least 2 biomes, which it does, we could play that card to reroll 2 dice. There's a lot of reroll option here. I could go all in with the safety protocol, but again, each of these dies, because he has the scouting conversion, it's a 5 and 6 shot. So I think with these rerolls, we want to conserve our dice. We don't want to be overly aggressive in spending them. Yeah, he's got to focus, but I don't want to spend 4 dice on this check. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to roll these 2, but let's go ahead and just roll these 2 dice, see if we can get our double scouting. Perfect. Got a scouting and a basic. The basic Mark converts into a scouting, so we have completed that. So the first step, again, looking is we're going to gain a unique discovery. So notice it says, it's not telling you a specific one. And this is where, the stack matters. It tells you to stack them from bottom to top. So we're actually going to gain 6 first is what it seems the game wants us to do. I always thought that was a little weird, but all right. We found protein soup. When you gain this card, gain 2 supplies. Wow. How about that? So we actually go from, so we started with 6. Now we're up to 8. We have the lander mod, which could get us up to 10. We have the supplies, which could get us up to 12. Note, we can't actually have 12 supplies at once. Whatever the limit on the lander board is, that's as high as you can go. So we just have to spend supplies before we gain more. But we got that protein soup. We're going to throw it over on our lander board. That was the first part of it. And then the second part is to gain 2 microorganism leads. So let's grab our baggie and see what we get here. It's going to be a 0, but +1 charge and a 2. So, okay, I'm going to put these on microorganism. We're going to decide who gets the charge. I think, yeah, we're going to give it to Cheryl. She's got the best ability. And now everyone's got at least 3 supplies, so everybody can use their ability twice, and we can still then do the lander mod if we need those extra supplies. Yeah, so one thing I mentioned at the end of the last video was that I am going to go ahead and fully embrace the deadly space mode, which means in order to claim a discovery using lead tokens, I'm going to need a value of 4 instead of 3. So a little bit harder. Things will be a little bit trickier. We'll do some more card play. Fortunately, we've got a bunch of abilities that'll help us out with that. That's successful. Let's see what the new point of interest here is. All right, so there are 2 possibilities for the point of interest. So I'm just going to roll a 10-sided die, and if it's odd, I'll take the top one. If it's even, I'll take the bottom one. So it is odd, so we'll go with this one, and let's see what it is. Sulfuric deposits. This thick crust of sulfides is extremely flammable, so we can mine the deposit. Ooh, look at this. All right, so we need gathering to do it. Got got to progress 4 times along the track, and if we're successful, we gain a mineral discovery, and then we replace this with card P010. Okay. Cool. Let's put that on the board. I'm thinking a couple things about this. The first is it doesn't get us any successes. I don't think we'll see what a P010 is, but if we were going to success from this, it would say so on the card. We may or may not need that mineral discovery with the mining probe. It's in the lander sector. Yes, on our previous planet, leaving Pellucid, we didn't have to go back to the lander sector, but even, the app told us, hey, usually you're going to have to go back to the lander sector. So we're going to have to come back this way anyway. So I think we can save this for endgame and go ahead and do what I was planning on doing for my second action, right? So, and we couldn't even do this yet anyway. We'd have to stick around because we can only do one special action a turn. So Mark's second action, right, is... Okay, so they have landed. There is this dust storm looming in the horizon, and it's in the direction they feel like they need to go. And understandably, for everybody else, this is their first time on an away mission. They're pretty nervous. Mark gives an uplifting, inspiring speech to encourage everybody, hey, we got this. We can do this. If we stick together, then, we're going to find out what this planet has to offer. And with that, I'm going to do the prepare action so that I can play, hopefully, uplifting speech, and I'm looking for the bottom ability. Move any number of crew members from your sector to a connected sector. That's it. That's what we're talking about. It's going to be Mark and everybody else. So I'm going to be able to move all 4 at once. I just need a scouting and then any other symbol. And again, when you're looking at the A's, cannot be a danger die. So it's got to be something else. And remember, Mark has the conversion ability. So somebody else can give him a basic green die to get us there. Should be able to accomplish this. Note the rest of it. Right? Because you might say, well, I could have just played this card during my previous dice check. Just roll some extra dice, play this card. But special cards like this, there's a few of them in the game. It'll say immediately go to the spend dice step of this dice check. And just to remind you, it's handy as you're learning the game to keep this card out, which shows you the step-by-step going through a dice check. So, right, you're doing dice combinations in step 5. So that's why I would play this card, the uplifting speech, in step 5. Then we have to jump all the way to step 9, which means even if we rolled the symbols we need for whatever task we're doing, we don't get to use them. You're basically saying, forget the rest of the action. This is what the action is doing. So you don't want to do a card like this in conjunction with an action, with another special action. You want to use it as part of a prepare action. It's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take the prepare action. Again, we're not going to... So prepare action, you get to do a dice check and or draw a card in either order. We're going to do a dice check first because we're hoping to play this card, and then we'll be able to draw it back up to our maximum hand size of 3 and not have to discard anything. If we did the draw first, we'd be at 4. We'd have to immediately discard. So uplifting speech, we're going to need... again, pretty straightforward as to what we're looking for here. I'm looking at Mark. He's already got 4 dice in the spent pool. I don't want to use any more of those. Jesse's already spent 3, so let's get her up to that magic number of 4 spent, which is ideal for a rest. And that's a green die, which is going to give us a 5 and 6 shot. And I don't see much indication here that Cheryl is going to need this tech die. So I thought of maybe having somebody else roll a green die. But the other option is, do I want to try and gain a microorganism lead? That's not a bad idea. So you know what? Mark actually is going to roll his Xeno die to go with this. So he's rolling a Xeno die. Jesse is rolling that die. Let's try and figure out the best way to do these. Because we have a lot of ability to re-roll green dice. But I'll go ahead. I'll just do that. So Cheryl will loan that die. So let's start and see how Jesse is able to help out here on this prepare dice check. All right, perfect. That is going to give us what we need in terms of Mark can convert that into a scouting. We'll go ahead and roll one Mark's die. Coming up roses. All right, so we did get the Xeno symbol, and last but not least, Cheryl. Just anything but an accident would be nice. Cheryl. I said anything but an accident. All right, Jesse is going to help out here during a dice check. Reroll one die. That's respite. So she'll play that. Let's try again. All right, much better. So now, let's go back to... but even before we do uplifting speech, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to spend this Xeno die. And that came from Mark. And that is going to let us, right, as printed here on the board, we are going to gain one microorganism lead. So let's see what we got here. We've already got a total of 3. We need a total of 2. We need a total of 2 more. This deadly space mode, we drew 1. So if we were playing normal, we'd have picked up our discovery. Not yet. But we are one step closer. Now, going back to the dice we've got here, the green Mark is going to convert into... Mark's going to use the green convert to get the first symbol we need, which is scouting. Then it's any die, so we are going to use attack. You might notice that some of these cards have A plus A. When they do, both symbols have to be the same. They can be basic, they can be specific, but they have to be the same. And of course, Vanguard counts as anything. So, but that's not the case here. It's scouting plus something else. We got it. So we're going to spend these dice. We're going to give them... Cheryl's going to get hers back. Jesse's going to get hers, or not back. It's going to go to her spent pool. Jesse's going to go to her spent pool. And now we're going to activate this card, move any number of crew members from your sector. So everybody inspired by Mark's uplifting speech and like, you know what? He's been here before. He's Recon. Well, he hasn't been here before, but he's been on a planet before. He's Recon. He knows what he's doing. We're in. They follow him into the dust storm. And what happens after? Well, we draw an event because that is Mark's second action. Wow, not only that, Mark has discovered secret tunnels here. Pop this up. He's kind of led them, even though in the dust storm, and he's managed to find a rocky outcropping and shelter, and lo and behold, secret tunnels. So we do have an option here. We could sacrifice a die to move to a chosen connected sector. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Or we can roll the sea danger die to move to a chosen connected sector. Obviously, this is only going to be him, not everybody else. I mean... I'm looking at the C table here, and boy, on a 3 or 4, we'd get an injury. That'd be an experience worth writing some songs about. So yeah, in the hopes of failing this check, because then he'll just use one of his charges to ignore it. Mark is going to go ahead and tell everybody else, "Hold on, you stay here. I'm going to go check out this secret tunnel," and he's going through. And I'm just so disappointed. We rolled an uncommon result of 2, which means nothing happens. Normally I'd be thrilled about that, but I was hoping for that 3 or 4 so we could start working on his personal goal. Something tells me there's going to be a lot more of these rolls for Mark in the future, though. He does, however, get to move, so he's going to go ahead and jet ahead to the volcanic surface. And yeah, you know what? We're going to backtrack because there's a log here. So even before I drew the event, we had to read log 25. So I apologize for missing that. Let's go over to the app, and we may not even be able to leave here, in which case that would have been a moot point. Let's find out.
Away team, exploration report 27C.
While exploring a rocky area, we located an entry into a large cave complex. It includes structures consistent with the effects of water erosion. Caves sprawl in all directions. Analyzing them could derail our mission, but liquid water environments offer a high chance of encountering life.
All right, P80. So we're going to have to find out what that is. All right, so I was part right as read story, right? So Mark has led them into a cave system. Tunnels extend deep into the planet's crust. Map the caves. With the scouting, we can gain a mineral lead and then go to log 7. So since I am going to then... So that completes that, right? We're going to put that on the board. Then we draw the secret tunnels. We've revealed this thing. It requires scouting. The problem is Mark can only use his conversion die on his turn. So nobody has, the best means to do this. We're probably looking at trying to do a Vanguard to get it. So for that, there's no reason why Mark shouldn't go ahead and take these secret tunnels. So as a result of the event, he's going to move over to the volcanic surface. And now, having resolved that event, we go ahead over to Cheryl's turn. And they're still hiding out. The dust storm's still raging. I think right around now, they're radioing back up to Vanguard to ask Vidas, are you sure this dust storm is going to move? Because it's just stuck right now, but... he feels like no. There's weather patterns here. At some point, no event is going to happen, and it's going to move. In the meantime, we are now in a situation where we could try and take a look at mapping these caves. All right, slight change in plans. Just kind of looking around at the board. Mapping caves, not Cheryl's strong suit. And it's like we said, she does not feel comfortable being in security, letting the team leader get too far away. So she's actually going to go join him over in the volcanic surface, which he's stuck at right now, and see if she can't help him out. So she's going to follow through those secret tunnels. She is going to have to spend a die in order to join him, and it's going to be let's see, I think she'll spend her Vanguard die, and that's going to move her over here for her first action. And then her second action is she's going to try and scout the lava zone and just need a scouting or just brute strength. She's gonna beast it and see what happens. So here we go. Vanguard result. That will do it. We gain a unique discovery. It's going to be unique discovery number 4, Oxygenating Extremophile, Planetary Explanation. When you gain this card, each crew member refreshes 2 dice. So I mean that's going to undo all the damage that we had on the lander on the trip down, and you could definitely see why you'd want to do the 6 first, get the extra supplies, have this happen a little bit later when you've spent some more dice. Like I said, there is a reason they have you put them in the order you do. So everybody now is going to get 2 dice back, and we'll resolve that before we go to the next part. And the next part of this card is we're going to gain 2 mineral leads and replace with a P075, which is a treacherous campsite, barely holding back the elements. Whenever you rest or exert in the sector, refresh all dice. And there is a special action here. You can discard an injury die, or you can draw a section card. Don't know how often we'd be doing either of those things. But, Mark's uplifting speech goes here. Not here. Sorry, goes in his discard pile. Forgot to put that back. And let's draw the 2 mineral leads and see what happens there. Okay, we got a 0 with a +1 card and just a plain old 0. I think I'm going to go ahead and give that extra card to Mark. He's got the best card, so let's move through his deck fast as we can. The other alternative would have been Jesse. This is going to get put on the board. That is the end of Cheryl's turn. So flip, draw an event. All right. All right, now there is no low visibility here in this campsite. None of the symbols match. So now we are going to progress time tracks. So we got a bunch of them. Let's start with the mining probe. It is going to move up one. We have our global condition is going to advance one step. And last but not least, Vidas was right. The dust storm is on the move. It is just going to counterspin, move to the lowest number connected sector. So it's going to head down here to the lander sector, as we always knew it would. And now we will move on to Keith's turn. Okay, so Keith, who is careful, is going to do something that otherwise would seem to be kind of reckless. He is going to roll a Vanguard die and his science. And Jessie is going to help with her Vanguard die. The reason I'm going with the Vanguard dice is I want to see if I can get a Vanguard symbol to get that extra mineral discovery. And also potentially, if I roll really well, I could also potentially activate the global condition. There are multiple symbols here. So during a dice check, right, sector has at least 2 biome icons, reroll 2 dice. So that's in play. Jesse's got the ability to reroll. And if things really go south, he's got charges to remove danger dice. Even though I want to use his charges mainly for comparative analysis, no guts, no glory. So Keith, being as cautious can be when you're rolling 2 Vanguard dice in a situation where accidents are bad. See how it goes. Jesse's assistance has been great so far, not so much this time. That's an accident. Switch over to the dice tower. And now let's see if Keith can do any better on his own. Yeah, that's considerably better. The reason I wanted, if I didn't get any of the symbol, although now that I think about it, I was rolling 2 Vanguard dice, so there was really no reason to roll that science die. It wasn't going to be possible for me to get the second result and not the first result. Nevertheless, that is the decision I made. So as things stand right now, do I want to re-roll that Vanguard? Do I want to use a charge? If your sector has at least 2 biomes, re-roll 2 dice. All right, you know what? I will go ahead and do it. So we'll start with his science die. It doesn't say up to 2, so I'm just going to assume, read the card as written. It says re-roll 2 dice. I'm going to re-roll 2 dice. Same result there. Let's see if we can shed that accident. Oh, yeah. Double Vanguard. Okay. So, fantastic. We'll spend... right, so it's still in step 5. We'll spend the double Vanguard to gain a microorganism lead. Again, you have to spend the die. We can't do it twice. Much as we would like to, it's just 1 die gets spent. That goes back to Jesse's pool. Way back when we surveyed the ravines, and I remember thinking that was all part of what I wanted to do, was that Mark was going to have to roll a danger die because we want him to. So I'm just going to backtrack and roll that danger die that I should have rolled on the very first test. Yes. So excited. So it's an A die. The 2 result is to gain a wounded injury, at which point Mark's ability, spend 1 charge to ignore the result of 1 danger die. He will do that, and his personal quest of trying to find out, just to get further inspired, putting himself on death's door. Boy, let's think about how this unfolded, right? So Mark just charges in, does this, is like putting himself in danger. He manages somehow miraculously to avoid that danger. And then I guess that's why his uplifting speech was so successful and the crew was willing to follow him, because This guy seems untouchable. All right, so I apologize for forgetting about that earlier. I was just checking the board now to make sure I didn't miss another danger die. It's very easy when you're doing these checks where it's just a tiny thing printed on the board to forget about it. So, don't stress if too much. If you do, you can always go back and just roll the danger die after the fact if you realized you missed something. Anyway, that said, this was all about gaining a mineral lead and then going to log 7 as we spend the Vanguard result for Keith to do that. So let's see what we get in terms of mineral leads. It's another 0. At least we're getting some of them out of the deck. Who knew Deadly Space Mode would be so hard? Okay, log 7.
Away Team Exploration Report 27B.
We found trace amounts of water on the cave floor, but the central corridor ended in a massive cave-in. The sensors detected unusual vibrations from the other side of the rubble, as well as something that might have been a substantial concentration of water. Unfortunately, breaking through would require a large-scale excavation effort.
All right, POI 81. Let's find out what that is. All right, so there's a cave in here. Time to bring out the heavy equipment. You don't say. Well, it just so happens that Jessie, who's here, has the construction arm, which is gonna gives her the convert ability of blue to construction, which is exactly what we need. We're gonna need 5 construction results to get through this. So, not going to be easy to clear the cave in, but at least we have the right tools for the job. And that was Keith's first action. I think he's going to stick around here to help Jessie out with clearing out this cave-in. So we're going to go ahead and prepare for his second action. All right, move 1 lead token from any discovery deck to any other discovery deck. Well, that'll be great if we can frickin' get a 1 on one of these other decks. It'll happen at some point. And that's kind of, I'm holding back on comparative analysis to kind of see the lay of the land before I start throwing tokens out. Although I would get to draw the lead to 2 tokens. Well, first I would choose where they're going to go, then I would draw them and get to see what I drew before placing. But nevertheless, don't need to use that card yet. That was his prepare action. He's not going to do any dice checks. So that is going to be the end of his turn. We'll move this over here. You haven't gone yet. We'll flip the turn available. We will draw an event for the end of his turn. Okay. Overwhelming force does not apply here, so that is going to advance the times tracks. So mining probe moves up 1, move up 1 on our global condition. It's now going to be a clockwise gale, so everybody in the lander sector. Fortunately, no one's there. Then this moves up here and gales again. So that is that for the 3 different time tracks we got going. We move on to Jessie's turn. All right. I mean, she's going to get busy. This is probably going to take a while. It's 5 times we got to move it along. We're not going to be able to do it all at once. If there were other here, a little bit more. We've already, in both cases, they've spent their Vanguard dice. We're just looking for those construction symbols. So she's going to roll her 2 blue dice. Keith will assist with his, and let's see how she does. Jessie first for herself, and wow, that's great because of the construction arm. And I just remembered. See, I need to read these again. So Jessie is non-binary. So we'll make that correction for now. So they have rolled their dice for themselves, and Keith, see what he can do to help. It's an accident. All right, so let's see. Don't have the ability to re-roll blue dice. I could cancel that accident, but there's 3 steps on the accident track before it's a problem. So I will just go ahead. So Jesse's roll moved it up twice. Keith's moved the bottom, which is unfortunate. Those dice go into their respective spent pools. That was Jesse's first action, and I think for their second action, they're going to go ahead and rest now at this point. So let's spend a charge down to 7. Draw a card. All right, now we have the convertibility to gathering if we use that card. So we get 4 dice back. Definitely these. We can also advance this particular thing with a blue and a red. So let's get another blue dice back. And we still don't have the ability to re-roll. Yeah, I don't think I want to get the Vanguard die. It's a little too risky because we still don't have the ability to re-roll that. So yeah, I'm gonna take the red die back. Keith's gonna have an opportunity also to rest again before we come back around, potentially, although maybe we'll see how it goes. All right, so that is 2 actions for Jesse. Let's move this over here. Let's flip their card, their token, and see if any event affects them. We have... Yeah, there is desert here. So, a thieving creature. All right, I can never resist this. Let's pop it up so you can see. Well, they said there wasn't much life, but apparently they were wrong about that because there's something down here. I don't know, maybe it's like a living dust storm that's trying to steal from them. A little piece of the dust storm broke off. We can sacrifice a die to gain 3 live specimen leads, or we can lose the supplies. We can certainly afford the supplies, but we're trying to get these discoveries. That is our mission. We have the ability to move tokens around. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to sacrifice a die. I'm going to sacrifice the basic red die. So that is out of the game. We're going to drop that in the compartment. Jesse is down to just 6 dice. Their rests are going to be a little bit less impressive unless they go ahead and rest here, in which case they're going to get all the dice back anyway. So let's draw 3 leads for live specimen. There we go. All right, it's a 3, a 1, and a 0 with a +1 card. So let me show you the board, how we're going to do this. Again, they can go in any order. So let's start by putting the 3 on the live specimen. That's deadly space mode. So 3 does not get me there. 4 does, right? So if I weren't playing deadly space mode, I only needed 3. Then I could do the 3 first, get the card, then put the 1 down. But no, I need 4 total. No problem. I got the 4 I need. So those are out of the game. We'll then just throw the 0 on afterwards. I'll decide in a moment who's going to get that card. Let's see what we found. It's a foraging ammonite, rare live specimen during the planetary exploration, during the dice check. So this was one of those, right? We've had one like this before. We could spend this to gain a Vanguard and a gathering symbol. But we are, let's see. That is our 3rd. So everything happens as it happens. So we haven't even technically placed the other token yet and gained that other card. We have completed our mission. When you fulfill have at least 3 discoveries on a lander board. When you fulfill the objective, discard the mission and gain 1 success. So let's just mark that off. We have gained our first success token. We are a long way off from, I'll put it over here. We are a long way off from the 6 we're going to need to rank up Mark. Okay. Wow, this is still all just a result of the event. Then we place a 0. Somebody gets to draw a card. Boy, I don't want to discard either of these cards. I like this convertibility. I would like to get them another reroll, but I think what I'm just going to do is, I mean, nobody's got any injuries, so I'm going to have Cheryl draw a card, and we're going to just get rid of the hemostatic dressing. I mean, potentially refresh dice, but... All right. Whew. That is the end of a very long first round. All right, so the next step is going to be decide who to go first. So let me take a look at all my options and figure out how we want to do this. All right, so I've decided to have Jesse go first. I want to see if we can polish this off, potentially freeing Keith to move up. I could have Keith go first to kind of get some more dice, but I mean, he's only got 3 dice spent. It'd be kind of a waste to have him rest now. So what Jesse's going to do, right? So this is going to give me a 5 and 6 chance with the construction die. Because of the construction arm, this blue basic is going to give me a 5 and 6 chance. On this blue die, I got a 2 and 6 chance, right? Either a Vanguard or a construction, or a Vanguard or a basic is going to get me what I need there. The alternative is a blue and a red. So let me also roll a red die. I do need 3 successes. So let's see if Jesse can, who's already completed 40% of this project, can get the rest of the way. All right, here they go. Okay. So success, 2 accidents. Yeah, so 2 accidents would be bad. I'm going to just keep the accidents, and I'm going to show you how this plays out. I also want to finish this. You know, it would have been nice if I didn't have to do this, but I don't want to mess around. I'm looking at cards. I'm going to go ahead and use the foraging ammonite. So let's discard that. Yeah, I double checked. So none of I need everything but live specimen. So I go ahead, I discard that live specimen to get a Vanguard result. So that's going to give me 3 successes. So we're going to move this. So again, we're going to resolve down top to bottom. So the first thing is we resolve the 2 accidents. So that's going to move this 2 steps. Then we're going to resolve, so we spend those. So those are spent. We can't use them for that red plus blue combination, but we do have the 2 successes we got there, plus the Vanguard, which is going to let us go to log 35. And we're going to do these in order, because if log 35 replaces this POI, then we're actually not going to have to roll the danger die, because it won't be there anymore. There are other times, right, when you, if it's not a track, where you might trigger the bottom right away. In this case, advancing a track, it may not be there by the time it matters. So let's go to the log. Again, that is 35, and let's see what happens. Roll a d10 and check your result. Okay. That's a 1, not a 7, as it was clinging to for a moment. Is your result 0 to 4? Yes.
Vanguard, this is Team 1. We've broken through to the other side, entering the deeper caves.
We received your uplink, Team 1. All eyes on you.
Detectors are going wild. Atmospheric composition is heavy with organic particles. We see gill-like growth on the walls. There are complex organisms moving in the water. It's an entire ecosystem. Wait, something's happening. The bioluminescence is fading. There's some sort of reaction.
Our flora experts suggest a defensive mechanism.
No, the cave flora is dying, starting from the point of our entry. We've sealed but the effect is magnifying. I think we're killing it.
Oh boy. All right, so we got two options. And by the way, I've never seen this before. I guess when I rolled a different result when I did this the other time, so this is new to me. Seal the dying ecosystem back and leave it, or attempt to save the ecosystem. All right, so I want to remind myself a little bit about these crew members before I make the decision. So, one moment. So we've got a really interesting situation. I'm going to remind you a little bit about these characters. So Keith Wood, who's got the expertise in technology, is a brilliant, if overly cautious, scientist. Dr. Wood has made few friends aboard Vanguard, but his work in the field cannot be disputed. And then for Jesse's standpoint, right, Jesse left their twin brother behind to join Vanguard and often wonders if they made the right choice. Quiet, unassuming, they tend to fall in line and follow the strongest personality on the team, but when pushed, they refuse to budge from a stance. Their efforts in collecting and cataloging alien organisms has been invaluable. I feel like this is a situation where Keith, who's feeling very cautious, would say, we have to get out of here. And normally Jesse might fall in line, but we're talking about an ecosystem. We're talking about the whole reason they came here to begin with. And this is an area, and to be fair, it was Jesse who did pretty much all of the work on clearing this and maybe also feels responsible. So this is going to be that situation. Surprisingly, in their first mission where Jesse stands up, will not back down. While they've got communication with Vanguard, I think they haven't been able to communicate with the other half of the team to get their view. So it really is between the two of them, and Keith, seeing how adamant Jesse is, relents, and they're going to go ahead and attempt to save the ecosystem. This will start a new obligatory mission. All right, each crew member refreshes one die. Okay, and I would love to know what I'm dealing with, though I can guess. Then find mission card M35 and place it next to the planet board. Then replace our POI with 164. We're still in a situation of not being great with rerolls. It's only one die. Keith's gonna, I mean, we're probably looking for biology, but Keith's gonna get his science die back. Jesse can do, at this point, probably the most with a general. You know what? I could potentially refresh 2 blue dice, so I will get that symbol back. It almost doesn't matter because this was Jesse's first action. Which means their second action is almost certainly going to be to rest. And we may bring somebody back here to help, depending on what's going on here. M135 and POI 164. So let me fetch those and I'll be right back. Okay, the new mission is a wilting ecosystem. Despite our efforts, our intrusion into this ecosystem contaminated. It is quickly dying. We must find a solution before it is permanently destroyed, eradicating fragile life from this planet. And let me show you that. The objective is to stop the infection using card P164. I'll show you that in a moment. Completion. When you fulfill the objective, you will be asked to discard this mission. It's got a time track, so we got a limited amount of time to take care of this. So that's the mission. The infected biome looks like this. Cool looking card. It's our fault. We have to fix it. We have to control the infection. Boy, this test looks impossible, right? I mean, so specific. We need biology. We need xenology. We need science. Why? What is that Keith Wood has? In addition to the science die we just got back? It's the bioanalyzer, which gives us the other 2 symbols. So it's going to be a while before we get back around to his turn, but I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be able to take care of this. So Jesse is frantically like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Keith's like, calm down. We got this. So that was very eventful. We still have one more action for Jesse. All right, so remember, right? We said story-wise, communications with the other team are down. So again, Keith remaining very calm, tells Jesse, "Look, I can take care of this." Starts prepping his bioanalyzer. Tells them, "You need to go tell the others, and you need to get some rest. You've been working very hard at this. You look exhausted." So Jesse, fortunately, that tunnel they found is still there. Jesse is going to make their way through that tunnel. Doesn't really matter. They're going to rest next turn. The only question is, right, they might want to loan a die. So they're going to spend the green die to move over here. And that is going to be the end of their turn. So, move on to Mark. I'm going to flip the turn available and see if the event matches up. It's extreme scintillation. It doesn't. So, again, the dust storm is going to head up here. The mining probe is chugging away. Actually, we have another time track now that we have to keep track of. That is going to be on the mission. So we're going to have to hope that Keith can fully take care of that when it comes back around to his turn. Unless Mark might just come over and help him. That might not be the worst thing to do. So let's take a moment. I'm going to look at Mark's options and see what we want to do. Yeah, this is going to be the way to go. So Jesse manages to come through the other side of the tunnel, finds the other crew having just set up their campsite, tells them, still kind of freaking out what happened. Mark says, calm down. Calm down. He's right. We got this, but I'm not going to leave him alone to do this. I'll go. You stay here with Cheryl, and we'll let you know. So first action, Mark is going to move. I'm just going to I'll spend a red die. I'm looking at the board. There's not anywhere. The jetpack wasn't even something I needed here. So Mark's going to move. Second action, Mark can go ahead, because this bioanalyzer doesn't have to be Keith. It can be anyone in the area. So Mark's going to go ahead and do the test. He's going to throw in an extra Xeno die. And Keith is going to assist with a science die, right? That's the other symbol we need. Let's see. We're still in a situation where we don't have blue rerolls. So there is a chance of failure. There's no penalty for accidents, so just to improve our odds, I'm gonna have Mark also roll a Vanguard die, just to increase our odds. And the reason I'm rolling the Xeno die is, I'm still looking to get that 4th point on the microorganism. So this gives us lots of possibilities. Let us go ahead and roll the die. We'll start with Keith's science die, again remembering that if he rolls a science, we got it. No. All right, we need the Vanguard at this point. All right, could be problematic. Let's see. All right, we got the Vanguard symbol. Okay, so... and we can re-roll any number of green dice if we want. I am going to do that. Because Mark's going to be due for a rest anyway. Draw another card. So second chance, we're going to try this green die again. Sorry, put those up there. There we go. All right, so first things first, Mark is going to spend his Xeno die to gain a microorganism lead. And, this should be on space 3 of the track. Yep, it should be. I'm just looking at the, I don't know, Did I forget to advance this? I don't know, but every time track has advanced 3 steps except this one that just came out. So, all right. Microorganism lead is another 0. Boy, just have to keep plugging away. All right, then we're going to use the bioanalyzer. So that's going to get returned to the armory. We're going to add xenology and biology to the die check, along with this Vanguard symbol is going to give us, we're going to use for science. That's going to give us the 3 things we need to hopefully control the infection. We gain a success. And let me grab this card. We're going to go to log 155. So first things first, that is 2 successes. We're getting there. Nobody's injured yet, so we're in good shape for the rank up for all our level 1s. All right, let's go to the log. All right, discard mission card M135. Nice. Wilting ecosystem. Flip the rank up card to its completed side. Great. Again, this was not a very hard one, but no complaints. Each crew member refreshes 2 dice. I'll go ahead and do that in a moment. Then we replace P164 with 000. All right, so I went ahead and refreshed dice. That was Mark's second action, so he's done. We're going to flip and draw an event. Oxygen leak? I don't believe so. Nope. So we get another time track. All right, this bounces back down here. And then that track resets. We advance this time track. Another one. Hey, the mining probe finally hits. So let's go ahead and draw 2 mineral leads out of the bag and see what we can get. Pair of 1s. Those are prime candidates. We do still need a mineral discovery. But those are... And we have other areas to get them. So those are going to go there. Okay. That is it for that. We're running out of opportunities to gain microorganism leads. C'est la vie. We may just have to move some stuff around. All right, so let's see what is Cheryl going to do. Give me a sec to figure that out. All right, so Cheryl is feeling a little bit more at ease, knowing comms are back open to the rest of the team. More applause from up in Vanguard as they say they've saved the biome. So knowing they're going to be heading back towards this campsite, she's going to go ahead and check out these rich deposits and see if she can't help out a bit using her. She has a particular set of skills. So she's going to go down here, rolling the A die to move. Really something Marks wants to be doing. All right, so she's going to have to spend a die. Doesn't really matter. Spend the computer die. Now she's going to attempt to mine the minerals. She can do it all by herself because she's feeling good. She needs a mining symbol or a gathering and construction. So Cheryl, she's going to roll a single die here. It is going to be the double Vanguard, even though this is like Jesse was made for this. Jesse's still like catching their breath. So Cheryl is just going to take some initiative and take care of this, rolling the Vanguard die. Oh, how close was that to the double Vanguard? So close, but it didn't. Landed on the single, so I'm going to go ahead and she's going to spend a charge, which is what I was planning on doing anyway. Spend 1 charge to turn 1 die to a chosen side. I choose that side, the double Vanguard. Remember, the dice has to be spent, but you can split the symbol. So in the case here, one of those Vanguard is going to be the gathering, the other is going to be the construction. And that is going to successfully mine the minerals, which is going to give us a total of 4 mineral leads. And then we're going to go to log 140. All right, so let's see how we do. Okay. Slowly but surely on these minerals. And again, we resolve these one at a time. So first we draw 2. We don't draw all 4 in place. We have to draw 2 in place, then we'll resolve the next part. So I got a 2 and a 1. So we're going to start by throwing the 2 on here, which gets us to a total of 4. Remember, we're doing deadly space mode, so we got to get a total of 4. These zeros are going to go back into the bag, which means they could be drawn when we do the next one. We're going to gain a mineral discovery. We're going to put the 1 on. All right. Unstable isotope, planetary exploration. You may discard this card to reset any number of time tracks. Interesting, but we need mineral discoveries, so I'm probably not going to do that, even though I do kind of like the idea of resetting our global condition. Because dang it if we don't need those microorganism leads. Where was this science die? This was Keith's. I just never got. Okay. So that was the first track. And then we gained 2 more mineral leads, having shuffled back in those 2 zeros, unfortunately. All right, we got a 1 and a 0. And, just out of curiosity, I'm going to take a look in the bag because we've got limited options here. Now, we do have another 2, and we have another 1. So, just trying to see where we're at. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tokens left in the bag. And you can do that. You can. It's what's in the bag is not hidden information because all the other tokens are out on the board. So, just making sure you shuffle them up again if you take them out to look. So that was that. Now we're going to go to log 140 and see what's happened here.
The deposit is extremely abundant, but not exceptionally large.
Okay. Interesting. So, right, nothing happened, and what's printed on here is printed on here. The assumption would be we can continue to do this action. There's going to be a certain point where it's just not going to work anymore. But we're going to be able to do it at least one more time. So, pretty good guess of what Jesse is going to be doing on their turn. That was 1 action to move, 1 action to do the event. So that is the end of Cheryl's turn. Decision time. Do we want to reset the track? I mean, I still have the ability to move stuff around potentially with that, but getting the microorganism lead. But then we're giving up a mineral discovery. It's not worth it. So I want to try and leave the planet, at least get our max 5 discoveries. Although, yeah, you know what? We are in a position to go back here to the sulfuric deposits and take care of that. So, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna discard this mineral discovery, and I'm gonna reset this track. That way, I don't know if things are going to get any worse, if there's going to be some timer that could be bad. Travel's still pretty easy. And I have some other things I'm thinking of doing. So with Mark, where I like, he's still going to try and do his thing. Yeah. So now we can flip this over, draw the event. No hazards. Awesome. Love to see it. That does it. So now it is Keith's turn. All right. Keith's got most of his dice. Let me give this one some thought as well. So I think what I'm going to do for Keith is I'm going to, even though the dust storm is coming back, it doesn't hit so bad when it comes down here. We've been drawing a lot of events. He's going to head down and get this started. While he's here, I feel like I got enough characters and I still have the ability. Everyone can help Mark. I still have so many supplies. I haven't even used the dehydrated supplies yet. So he's going to go ahead. In order to move down here, he's going to have to spend a die. I don't think I'm going to need this xenology die or biology die. Right, so we're just looking for pickaxes, so gathering symbols. So I'm going to roll a Vanguard die. I'm going to roll a gathering die. And, we'll get the process started. And, if the dust storm comes, if the first time the dust storm comes in, remember, we reset the track, it's just going to move. It's not going to hit us. And then when it leaves, it'll gale. And then we'll have plenty of time before it shows up again. So I can certainly afford to spend some dice. Yeah, it'd be really good to get Jesse over here at some point, but we'll get there. So going ahead, rolling. Let's see. Yep. Not going to complain about that. That's 2 successes. So we're halfway there. Living on a prayer is Keith Wood. Okay. That was 2 actions. 1 to move down. 1 to perform the action. Just going to move us over. Draw an event card. Yeah. It matches a volcanic. There's a deep fracture. Oh boy. Okay. So it was very similar to a card we saw earlier. Just make sure. Yeah. All right. In this deep fracture, we can sacrifice a die to gain 3 mineral leads, or we can roll danger die A. It's not a bad idea to draw the 3 mineral leads, because when we finish this, we would have to clear off everything on there. Yeah. Now, with the sacrificing die, I got to make sure it's got to be a die from down here, because if the dust storm comes in, I'm going to have to spend 3 dice. So you won't regret getting rid of the biology die. In the name of science, let's see. We're going to get 3 leads on the mineral deck, which already has a value of 2. Oh, for the love of... That was not a good result. That's 0, 0, 1. And I know that in the bag, all that's left is a 2 and a 0. So now is going to be the time to do some recompiling work. Before or after an action, right? So... But no, that was an event. Shoot. All right, it would have been, yeah. I would have wanted to do one of these now. That would have been ideal. So no, these both do have to be used on his turn. That's not going to be the problem I thought it was. Because that's the end of the round, and it is going to be Keith's turn again. So for the start of the new round, we're going to make him the start player. All right, so now, before his action, so let's take this back. Before his action, he is going to do recompiling work. Move 1 lead token from any discovery deck to any other discovery deck. So that is going to take a 1 from here. And we're going to put it on microorganism, which is going to get us... Oh, you know what? I'm going to move one of these reshuffle ones. Because there's some zeros here. So that is going to get us up to 4, which is going to get us our microorganism discovery. It's a mold-covered object. When ship management unloaded, you may discard this card to draw 1 random discovery of any type. Good to have the flexibility. This 001 all gets shuffled back into the deck. That was before the action. Then his action is going to be to go ahead and rest, which is going to knock us down to... I cannot believe this is only the second time I've rested. That knocks us down to 8 supplies. We keep getting these effects that let us get dice back. So he will get 3 dice back. He'll get to draw a card if your sector has at least 2 biome icons. It does. Reroll 2 dice. Excellent. So that was... Resting was action number 1. You know what? Let's just keep it simple. Before or after an action, discard a charge to gain 2 lead tokens of any type. So I'm going to do that now. All right. I'm going to go for 2 mineral leads and see if we can't get lucky enough to finish this off. Zero, a +1 charge, and a 2. Hallelujah. Okay. So we'll resolve both of those. A whole bunch of stuff's going to get shuffled back in. We're going to draw a mineral discovery. It is the ultra durable ceramic crust. When unloaded, move production project C09 ceramic plating. Nice. Then remove this discovery from the game. So that's unfortunate, is that we're not going to get to spend that on research, but it is going to give us a new research project, which is very cool. All 4 of these go back into the bag. I don't think Mark's going to get his thing this time out, but who knows. All right, so that was all the rest and follow. So now Keith is going to take his second action, which is to once again try and do this. Now we can re-roll 2 dice, but not up to 2 dice. So I just need a buffer die to roll here, just in case. So I'll roll the science die. It doesn't really matter. All right. So, and once again, we've got the Vanguard and we've got the Gathering die, and we're going to see how that goes. All right. So the Vanguard die hit. The Gathering die did not. So we will spend Explorer. I could activate move up to 3 lead tokens from any Discovery decks to any other Discovery decks. Not much moving to be done. We are going to burn this card. We're going to reroll both these dice. Too bad. Did not get it. So we inch ever closer. Just need one more success down there. That's going to be the end of Keith's turn. So then we will draw an event for him. We do not have a match. Too bad. Friendly wildlife. So let's do all of our time tracks. The dust storm is going to make its way down here finally. Then this is going to advance. And boy, I didn't need to waste the discovery getting rid of that, but we're going to be over 5 anyway. The mining probe is going to kick off again. And now we're going to go to Jesse's turn. You know, at this point, I'm going to get a mineral discovery for completing this. That's going to give me 5. I still haven't explored this area. Is Jesse feeling brave enough to do it on their own is the question. They're a little low on dice. They do have the ability to move with somebody else. Yeah, I don't see any benefit to going down here again. I mean, the truth is, Jesse's here all by themselves. They're feeling pretty exhilarated and high after their success, or the group's success in the other cave. And, you know, well, what's over that ridge? Why don't we take a look? So, I think they can always come back. So, Jesse is going to move up here. Spending a die to do so. So, I'm going to go to log 6.
This is the away team. We're about to enter the fissures on the largest active volcano in the area. We're detecting abnormal seismic patterns. There are also layers of magnetic compounds scattered all over the mountainside. Expect radio interruptions.
Copy that, away team. If you don't make contact in an hour, we're sending in a rescue team.
We are on Brimstone.
Say again, Team 1. We're losing your signal.
We're inside the mountain. We found of the seismic disturbance. It is some sort of mechanism stuck in the large magma reservoir. It's...
Exercise caution, Team 1. We don't know if...
moving towards us! We're...
But what? What? Oh boy, okay. Place card P001 on top of any cards in this sector. Place the Arrogator Behemoth in this sector. Okay, we have found a seemingly considerably more serious threat. Replace your global condition card with card G04. Warning, when its time track runs out, you will die. Well, that sounds pleasant. Find and resolve the M34 mission card, discard M10 and M31 cards if revealed. If the Duststorm threat card and standee are revealed, discard them. Some positive news, I guess. Boy, I wish we hadn't dumped that discovery to let us reset a time track, because being able to reset this Doom track probably would have been better. But let's get everything out and see what it looks like. Well, this is all terrifying. Let's start out with the Arrogator Behemoth. An Eye of Void atop biomechanical carapace. All right, so that's what that looks like. A lot of stuff going on here, so let me run through it. All right, action-wise, the first thing it does is travel. If there's no crew member in the sector with the Arrogator Behemoth, move the Behemoth 2 sectors towards the nearest crew member. Then it attacks. Each crew member in the sector with the Behemoth spends a die. If there is none, travel and advance the red track 1 step. Its second movement is just to travel. Its third is to attack and attack, and then reset the track. In order to take it out, you have to hit it 5 times. You can do that with physical and defense, or red, blue, blue. You do not want to roll tech or accidents again. That eradication beam is going to have each crew member in the sector with the Behemoth sacrifice a die and gain a wounded injury. All bad stuff. Much more concerned about this time track, which, looking at our mission, escape the planet, objective, leave the planet before the super volcano erupts, completion, discard this mission when you leave the planet. If we don't, everyone's going to die. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So everyone's going to get a couple more turns, and that's if we don't draw any events. Plus, we have ways to not draw events. Like I said, it would have been so much better if we had the ability to back up this time track. We do have some mechanisms, though. So, meanwhile, you've got the giant... Jesse, I think, is going to be scarred for life. I will tell you strategically what I'm thinking right now is we got to get off this planet. We did pick up a secondary objective upon revealing this, which is toppling the Titan, which is to take this thing out. I would like to maybe try and do that. We could get it if we can get Mark with all his dice back, and with the group together, we have so much. We have the portable probe. We have a lot of these. We have the physical enhancer. There's a lot of things we can do to get a giant dice pool to potentially defeat this thing. But let's do it in the lander sector. We got to be mindful. It's going to come after us anyway. We got to be mindful of this time track. So that was Jesse's first action. I think you can imagine Jesse's second action is going to be to get the hell out of here. Spending a die, I think, I do have an alternative if I don't want to spend a die, right? So the travel action here, showing on the global condition, is I need to spend a die to move to a connected sector. It's the same as it was before. If I fail, then I just have to roll on the A table. So that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm gonna for the dice jack, I'm going to spend 0 dice. So I'm going to get the fail result. I'm going to have to roll an A danger die, and it's blank. So there was a small, there was a 1 in 8 chance chance, or maybe 1 in 4 chance that I would have gotten a wound. So that's a bit risky. But, all right. Boy, that follow ability is going to see some use shortly. That was the end of Jesse's 2 actions. Yep. So Mark will be going next. Let's draw an event and see what we got. Let's hope. Yeah, no, it's time tracks. Really. Okay. So we'll start down here. I mean, mining probe for whatever it's worth. Yep, the irrigator behemoth. Oops, which is upside down. Boy, these are all Keith's dice from earlier. Okay, I gotta remember to put that stuff away. So behemoth is gonna move. It's going to attack, which is just to spend a die. So Jesse will do that. All right, now it is Mark's turn. So yeah, I'm going to save this hideout because it can reduce the global track 2 times. So I can do that later. I mean, Mark still, he did complete it once. All right, so Mark is going to move down to here. We're not going to get 6 successes. That's obvious. But I do want to get 3 successes so everybody else can rank up. So Mark's going to head down. He's going to try and finish this off. Maybe not. It's probably better if Keith sticks around. Right. So I know I can get a success over here. First of all, for the movement, again, I'm not going to roll any dice. I want to roll the danger die, and I want to get wounded. Come on. Nope. Okay. Sorry, Mark. We tried. Mark's going to use his second action to move over here so that we can, at least we know we're going to get a success here. So let's lock that in. Once again, we are rolling the danger die. The more Mark can do that, the better. All right, he's going to have to spend a die. It's not worth ignoring that. So now I don't need the Xeno die, I don't think. Nope, I need exactly the dice I have. So that's the end of Mark's turn. Just check my equipment again, make sure. Let's see, mapping mini drones. Yeah, that'll come in handy if I need it. Do not want... I do not want to mess around here. Okay, so let's draw an event. It's got volcano. Is that volcano or desert? It's desert. If we had stayed where we were, we would have gotten hit by some lovely corrosive fumes. Instead, all right, we'll start down here. This moves second time. Mining probe continues, and this time it's going to travel. So what does it do if there's somebody already here? If there's no crew member in the sector, then move it 2 sectors. That's it. So it just hangs out here. It's recharging, I suppose. Jesse is still, crapping their pants. But fortunately, Cheryl is not far behind, and you can imagine Jesse cowering inside the makeshift shelter they've built as Cheryl comes running up, sees this monstrous thing, and is just like, come on, we got to get out of here. And so first action, rolling the danger die to move. So that's a 1, so I do have to spend a die. And by the way, let me take care of this, and then I'm going to talk a bit about some strategy. I'm going to spend a green die. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to be spending multiple dice. So we've reached a territory where actions are precious, where I may just be exerting dice instead of resting, not because supplies are an issue, we've got plenty of those, but because it doesn't take an action to exert. So let's see how things go. I think go with the initial strategy, because this thing is going to attack. So let's minimize how many attacks we're taking. We're going to move again. We're going to spend a blue die. And then Jesse is going to use one of their charges. When another crew member travels from your Spectre, spend 1 charge to move with them. That was the travel action. So, Cheryl comes running, finds her, the tent grabs her. It's kind of like that jump scare moment where she's like cowering as the Arrogator Behemoth is out, and all of a sudden she feels something grab her from behind. And no, it's okay. It's just Cheryl. Come out the back. Let's go. Running back through the tunnels into the caves that Mark found earlier. And for now, they're safe. But let's see what happens. There is an event. Okay. Oh my goodness. In their haste, they're stuck. They are stuck in here. So Cheryl is either going to have to exert and fight her way through. And by exert, I mean, here, I'll show you the card. God, can you imagine anything more thematic than what's happening right now? They got stuck going through the tunnels because there is the rocks here. She's either going to have to sacrifice or die or progress the time tracks by 1. We do not want to progress the time tracks by 1. So we will sacrifice, well, what did we say? We do not want computers, but we do want blue dice. You're going to sacrifice a green die. Because, again, I still want to take out this Arrogator Behemoth, and I'm looking at its dice. You can do red, blue, blue, or the symbols we need. Green, no problem. We're not going to need that. So Cheryl is fighting to push her way through the tunnel, clearing rubble that's fallen. Jesse kind of just follower that they are, just following behind as Cheryl paves a path bravely and valiantly. Little worse for the wear, but still going. And they, for now, have kept the behemoth at bay. And the volcanic eruption is not going off anytime too soon. So that is the end. And I haven't been flipping these, but I have been drawing the events. That's the end of Cheryl's turn. All right. So now let me think for a moment. And I'm going to pause for a sec because I've hit the end of the round. So now I'm going to figure out who is going to start the next round. And okay, so Mark is going to be kicking things off for this round. Give him the start, and we just want to try and get this done, make sure we can lock up that success. So we don't even need to do the first ability, which is to examine the vents. It just gives us 2 microorganism leads, but all we have left in the bag is a total of 2. So we can't even, we can't get any more from leads. That said, it is fewer dice. So, and I can pretty easily get those symbols. I'm going to roll these 2 dice. And just to make sure, I don't want people to use up too many dice, but Keith's about to get a rest. Keith is going to loan a basic green die for reasons, which I'll explain. Let me do my roll first. We'll start with Mark. All right, so it's good and bad. Boy, accident is not going to be good. Fortunately, remember, we have the live streaming rig, and anyone can assist. But before I do that, Keith is going to roll a die. And, okay, that's basic. That's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Jesse, as they're cowering in the cave, hiding from the behemoth, the comms come through, and, here's Mark saying, I need help. So Jesse's kind of looking through the monitor as Mark's showing the live streaming rig, and they tell him what to do, and let's see if Jesse's help pays off. It does. So this is perfect. I can use, these are basic or they're scouting, so I'll use 2 of them. Well, I'm going to use 2 to complete that, but first Mark is going to play Hideout. Any die, I can progress or reduce 1 time track on the global position up to 2 times. So we had moved our volcanic eruption time track, had moved 2 sections, so we're going to move it back. It's now off the card. And I think what's happened there is Mark, as he's managed to find, as he's scouting this area out, managed to see an area where the lander is, where they can actually, where they can buy some time, where the flow of the lava is coming, let them prep for kind of a last stand against this behemoth that's coming after them. So played hideout. Then we spend the other 2 dice to complete it. We do technically get the discoveries or the leads, not that it matters, but let's see. Oh, look, we draw 2. We draw 1 and a 1. That would be exciting if there weren't any, if there were anything other than zeros in the bag, which there aren't. However, we do gain that ever important 3rd success, and we reveal card P162. All right, a bacterial colony. Scans indicate vigorous biochemical activity. Oh boy, well, this is interesting. Maybe he can rank up, because we complete this, we gain a unique discovery, and on the board it says, yeah, but it just says if there's no unique discovery here, gain a success instead. Then going back to the card, then gain a discovery, 2 microorganism leads. So we stand to gain 2 more successes out of this, which would get us up to 5. So the question is, will we get a success for killing the behemoth? And if so, then it'd be worth doing this. The question is, am I going to come back here? In which case, I don't want to burn this now. So I can't do it now anyway, because I already did a special action. Mark's second action, regardless, is going to be to rest. Let's get this in play. Okay, so just kind of building up for that inevitable battle. I did get his Xeno die back, because he needs that for this test. And I'm also realizing he's got the mapping mini drones, which gets him the biology, so he should be able to nail that one. And then I got some red and blue dice back that he can potentially use in the behemoth fight if and when that comes. What do you mean if? It's coming. But we got to get everything in order. That is the end of Mark's turn. Time to draw an event. Violent current doesn't apply, so time tracks will advance. So at this point, the behemoth is going to attack. So let's just run through again here what it does when there's nobody here. Attack. Each crew member in the sector with the aggregate or behemoth spends a die. If there is none, travel and advance the red track. All right, we got to be careful about that. So it will travel. It'll advance. It'll advance the red track one. The eradication beam. And then it will attack again, so both of these crew members are going to have to spend a die. Okay, not Keith. It's going to be Cheryl. All right, speaking of Cheryl, it is now her turn. Okay, so for Cheryl's part, again, she's getting out of here. Travel action. Yeah, let's just roll the danger die, so we don't have to spend our die. Maybe. We may just have to spend it anyway. We may get wounded. We'll take that shot. Nope, spend a die. So that was, either way, that was what was going to happen. Of course, once again, Jessie is hot on her heels as they follow along. So now we got 3 people in the lander sector ready to go. Cheryl is going to take a moment to catch her breath. She is going to refresh 3 of her 6 dice and draw a card. The card is reroll an injury die. No, we don't need that. That's going to discard. And then we'll figure out, let's see, it's going to be these, clearly it's going to be 2's red dice, and it's going to be the Vanguard, which she can convert using her ability to a double. So, I mean, she's sitting on 2 successes against the behemoth all by herself. that is going to be it for Cheryl's turn, as she moved and rested. So let's flip this over and go ahead and draw her event. All right, a whole bunch of stuff here. And we got volcanic eruption. We have desert. We have rocky terrain. Yep, there is a perilous overlook. You may... Yeah, we're going to do this. Roll danger die A to refresh 2 dice. For sure. Okay, so spend a die to refresh 2. 1, then we get 2 dice back. Yeah, she's got the blue convertibility to get shields or protects. So that was awesome. This start should be over here. Okay, Keith. Keith is going to rest, getting 3 dice back. And a card, as we're hoping he can finally finish off this task. Catch your breath, good. Reroll a red die, that's good, because we're getting that back. We're getting that. All right, where are we at? So, all right, so now Jesse is here. So Jesse could spend specialized tools to give, right, to give him the convert ability. So let me show you this. This is the card Jesse's got, right? So during a dice check, you refers to the person you're playing it on if you're assisting. So Jesse could convey that convert ability to Keith. So we'll keep that in mind as Keith has rested for the first action and is now going to attempt to finish this off for the second action. And in order to do that, we are going to just need 1 success. So I'm going to roll this red die, which I have a reroll if I need it. And I think we're also going to roll this red die. And that'll be it. I only need 1 of them to hit. They both hit, but I don't have to play the card. So, and you know what? Excellent. So I'm going to use the basic symbol to play Catch a Breath, which lets me draw 2 cards. So 2 cards is better than 1 card. This card charged to gain 2 leads of any type. Yeah, I don't need that now. But I can get rid of danger dice, which isn't really seem to be an issue. But then I'll spend the gathering to finish this off. Final step. So we gain a mineral discovery, very important, different from a lead. Veiny Impactite Ship Management. When unloaded, you may discard this card to draw 1 random microorganism discovery. All right, so we got some different options. We got a lot of ability to shuffle around what our discoveries are. So we'll take a closer look at that when it comes time to the ship phase and unloading. Okay. So that was Keith's second action. We do have to replace this with a P010. Okay, so here's the panicked card. It sucks if some of these things happen. But then again, that's only if he has to roll, and only if he's still panicked. We could get rid of the die. But we do have our first injury for Keith, who is just terrified. And we'll put it here in the blue column. That was a result of the violent eruption event, ending his turn, which brings us to Jesse's turn. And at the end of Tim's turn, he does also have to spend a die. So, also, I realized something looking over everybody's charges, abilities. I was looking again at Mark's ability, which is to spend a charge to ignore a danger die. Obviously, he can only do that for himself, which I think means Cheryl's ability to change a die to a chosen side would only apply in a check that she's doing. I'm pretty sure about that now. I said it was the other way earlier. I'll check it after the fact, but for now, I'm going to assume it has to be on her die check, which makes sense. All right. So let's see. I mean, Jesse. Yeah, Jesse's probably just going to rest. We do want to get another card. I think this is where Jesse wants to be. We've got plenty of supplies. That's 6, so yeah. I think I might be a little off on supplies, but again, I have the means to get more. I'm just going to have Jesse rest twice. Hopefully get some more rerolls. I don't need this convertibility anymore. And yet I drew another one. So when you are in a section with mission equipment, refresh 1 die. That's pretty good. I am in a section with mission equipment. All right, so pretty simple turn. You know what? I want to look up one thing, so I'll be right back. All right, so I was just looking. Crew members in the area can freely exchange equipment, which means, you know, if I wanted to get the med kit, if Keith were going to make a die roll, I could just have Jesse grab it now. But I think Keith's not going to have to roll until his turn, if that comes up. So that being the case, I'm not going to bother. If he needs to I will get rid of that die, but I can wait till his turn to do it. So, so that is it for Jesse's turn. 2 actions, both resting. Look at that. I said in the tutorial you'll probably never see me do it again, and here I did it. All right, let's draw an event and see what happens. All right, there is no useful vegetation in this horrible desert, and Jesse is going to have to spend a die, that computer, because we don't want that coming up against the Arrogator Behemoth. So we're going to advance time tracks. All right, the erupting volcano continues to erupt. Hey, the mining probe. Fine, I'll just do it. There's 2 zeros coming up. And then the Arrogator Behemoth will travel and attack. So it'll come down, and then everybody here is going to have to spend a die. That was inevitable, but that's okay. Figure all this out. All right. Now we are in the ability to, we're at the beginning of a new round. We can decide who's going to go. So again, let me review my options. I'll let you know what I decide. Okay, so once again, I am going to have Mark go first. And my thinking is, you know what? I'm going to go for the 6 successes. This Arrogator Behemoth is freaking hard to take down. There's a secondary objective toppling the Titan. I have to believe I'm going to get a success for doing it. So, and if not, well, I got 5 successes. That's still useful towards getting another die. I could spend one of my level 2 crew member. I'd be able to do that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do this. In order to do this, I need xenology and biology. I do have the mapping mini drones, which will give me the biology die I need. So I really just need to roll on xenology. I have focus, so if I roll 3 dice, I'm assured of success. So Jesse's going to loan a green die. Mark is going to be spending this die. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to exert over for Keith right now because he's going to need some dice probably anyway. Don't think, yeah, at this point we're getting rid of red dice because we're just, not red dice, we're getting rid of green dice. Although that's a Vanguard die. Okay, we'll hold on to the Vanguard die. We'll just sacrifice this, the blue science die from Keith so that he can get 5 dice back. Truth be told, he's probably not going to be, right, doing dice checks. He's just going to be assisting. Well, we'll see how it goes. He's going to loan this green die. So now we've got 3 dice. Yeah, we're locked in. Because we can focus if we have to. So Mark's going to start out by rolling the Xeno die. It's a Vanguard. Then we've got the die that Jesse loaned. And then we've got the die that Keith loaned. Okay. So we're still going to have to spend the mapping mini drones. Oh, no. I could focus, but you know what is even better is I could spend focus to draw 3 cards. Which is... I don't even know that. Well, yeah, to get me some more rerolls, but focus also. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna spend focus. I'm gonna draw 3 cards. So I got a hideout. I got another focus. I got a second chance. Those are all good. Move an accident. Probably not too bad to be able to remove an accident. We're definitely going to keep hideout. We don't really need to reroll green dice again at this point, so I'll get rid of second chance. Then I will spend... And I could, having just drawn cards, I could draw 3 more cards. I can continue to go through, but I'm good. We'll just move that back down to there. Spend the Vanguard plus the mapping mini drones, which is going to give me the biology symbol I need. And that is going to gain a unique discovery. We've gained them all, so instead we're going to gain a success. Then the second part, gain a unique discovery and 2 microorganism leads. So not unique discovery, gain a success. So that's our 5th success. 2 microorganism leads. All right, well, there's 2 zeros. And there's 1 token left in the bag, and there actually is a character whose personnel goal is to end the game, or not end the game, at some point in the game, have 2 or fewer tokens in the bag, which seemed to me impossible when I first saw it, but it's definitely possible. You just have to do some crazy stuff like this. Okay, so that's that part of it, and then we replace with a P10. The P10 is, of course, another desert, but that was only Mark's first action, so he can bust out of here. He is going to do that, spending a red die. Actually, what's the movement here? Yeah, he's just going to move. He's not going to roll any dice. We're going to take our chances on the danger die. Come on, wound. No. Mark is trying so hard to be dangerous, but it's not working. So that fails. It's one way of looking at it. All right, now it's time to draw his event. All right, let's see. Should be over here. Ambush. You're telling me. Time tracks all advance. Actually, this is okay because the Arrogator Behemoth just travels. No penalty if it's already where it needs to be. So again, it's recharging. It's whatever the heck these crazy cannon things are on it. Those are charging up again. And it's going to get ready to do some big blasts, but not if Cheryl can do something about it first. So we have gotten to her turn. Brave, heroic Cheryl, who is completely undaunted by this thing and is going to try and take it out. First, she's going to rest. She's going to take a deep breath. She's going to draw a card. All right. I'm going to drop that card on the floor. It's a second copy of Catch Your Breath. So she can now got 2 rerolls on red dice. And I love a big dice pool. So here we go. Cheryl is rolling everything. Let's talk about everybody else is going to loan a die. For Mark, it's going to be that red die. For Jesse, it's going to be this blue Vanguard die. For Keith, it's going to be his blue basic die, which he can convert into a shield. So let me just check my cards, make sure we don't have anything crazy. There is a there is a rank 2 rank 2 card for Recon that lets you assist with any number of dice. I've never really thought it was necessary, but not gonna lie, it'd be useful now. But we don't have it, so that's fine. We got plenty of dice. We're gonna go ahead. Let's start with the assisters. So Mark's gonna go first, and again, this is her second action. All right, let's go over to the dice tower. So far, bam, we got the first thing we need is a fist. Can we get a complete set thanks to Keith? Yes, because that is her convertibility. All right, Jesse, you roll whatever you want. It doesn't actually matter. I got plans. All right, that's an accident. They're still... cannot believe that they're actually, like, I think Jesse at this point, the reason you're not seeing much assistance is Jesse's in the lander, like watching them like, why aren't we leaving? Let's get out of here. But no. Cheryl's on this. And come on, this is a stand-up moment. We got 6 dice we're rolling. Okay. We did not want a computer. Forgot about that. Well, whatever. It's one bad result. Maybe. All right. Yeah, that's not the best blue die to roll. But there are options. Or as Spock always used to say, possibilities. All right. Let's start with Catch a Breath. Cheryl can play any number of cards. She's going to re-roll this red die. I got an accident. That's a Vanguard. Okay. So in order, we got to hit the Alligator Behemoth 5 times with a combination of Fist and Shield. So where are we looking? We got Fist and Shield. That's one. I'm going to spend these now just to keep track of it. That's 1 success on the Alligator Behemoth. Okay, so now we got to hit 4 more times. So over here, we got this blue basic die and this red die. That is another success. Okay. Then we have a portable probe. During a dice check, you may place this card in the roll pool of any crew member in your sector, including yourself. So Jesse... Well, even though Jesse was getting ready to take off, starts to see just like a whirling dervish, this group surrounding the Alligator Behemoth, just using whatever abilities they have on it. And this thing starts to buckle. Jesse's starting to believe. Jesse comes out, aims the portable probe at it, says, look, I found a weak spot. And it's with the physical enhancer. So if you can imagine, right, that Jesse's got like this kind of mechanism on her arm and just delivers like a thunderous punch, like the Spider-Man villain, and that with these 2 cards is going to give us another success. And now we're almost there. And technically, right, this computer die, which I could re-roll, but this computer die would have been spent before this. It's higher up. If I don't re-roll it, that is going to be spent to move the Eradicator beam another step. But now what are we looking at? Well, Jesse, fully in the fray. It's Cheryl who says, well, first of all, Cheryl's going to spend these 2 Vanguards. And that's going to give us our 4th success, which is going to put us just 1 step away. And that is when Cheryl, who is adaptive, sees that Jesse's come back in and notices the various engineering tools that Jesse has that seemingly useless, but having wailed away, having exposed this mechanical construct, some kind of an area, its weak spot, grabs the hydro spanner from Jesse and kind of sliding underneath the arrogator, drives it up into its spot, spending a charge to turn this accident into a double Vanguard, giving us the final success we need to take out the arrogator. And we go to log 40 to see what happens.
Away Team, Exploration Report 58D.
The object proved exceedingly resilient to all our weaponry, but we managed to disable it.
Oh yeah, we
As
did.
we approached the smoldering wreckage, at first we focused only on its unfamiliar biomechanical construction. Then we noticed it, a symbol on one of the armored plates. Eerily similar to the one we're wearing on our dog tags. A sign from the wreckage discovered on Earth. Now the heart of our ship. What could possibly connect this Hulk with our ship?
Hey, we gain a success and 4 alien tech leads. Yeah, here's our 4 alien tech leads. It's 1-0. Okay, but we got a success. That is success number 6. All right. Remove from the game the toppling Titan objective. We've dealt with that. Discard the arrogator behemoth from the board with pleasure. Okay. At this point, I think the hour is late, and I'm not sure there's anything else to be done on this planet. Wow, that was incredible. Yeah, just for good measure. Well, she spent all her dice. I was going to say Cheryl could use the med kit. It's fine. Having an injury, it doesn't matter. It would just get rid of the die, not the card. So Keith is still going to be wounded regardless. But that was Cheryl's second action. Just to play it out, we do have to draw an event. There is a malfunction. Lose 1 supplies or roll a danger die. We'll lose the supply. And she's going to have to exert to get dice back so that she can pay a die for the desert. I don't even remember if Mark paid a die for the desert, but he had extra if he needed to. At this point, we're at Keith's turn. Sure, he'll take the med kit, get rid of his injury die just because he can, even though he's still injured. And then time to take off. So let us do liftoff. 440.
Captain's log, entry D215.
I won't lie. That ancient war machine buried deep under the surface of the planet, it caught us by surprise. From now on, we need to expect more surprises like this one. The technology was unmistakably identical to the defense emplacements built around the Eye of the Void. Whatever the builder's plan was, this young race does its best to make sure no one can follow up on it. Who knows how powerful they are and how many systems they control? Having such a warlike species in our part of the galaxy fills me with unease. Just like the fact that each piece of their technology we found so far seemed millennia old. If they could build things like that ages ago, who knows how powerful they are now? The codename our science team has for them is the Arrogators. An apt name, considering they seem to be hell-bent on claiming every world for themselves. Let us hope they haven't already claimed half of the galaxy.
Congratulations, you've completed this planetary exploration. Are you on Everstorm? No. All right. Crew members are all in the lander sector, so go to page 25 in ship management, and that is all she wrote. Whew, that was a hell of an episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. That was exciting. Uncovered some stuff I had never seen before. I will say, first time I did know the irrigator was there, so I had to kind of suppress. Part of me was like, no, don't go to that section. Take your time. Do everything else first. I wasn't sure about if the time track was involved in this one, but either way, I had made the decision that whatever. I was there. I was just gonna go explore it. The first time I played this with my daughter, we just got the heck out of there. We only had 2 characters. We had no chance, we felt, of taking out that irrigator. So we ended up coming back for it later. This might be the only I feel like we're done on Brimstone. There is potentially, there's potentially could come back, but I don't know. I feel like we've drained just about everything. Really, all there is going back to Area 7. And, we'll talk about that in the future. But I think for the immediate, we're going to move on. We want to continue to be able to rank up. There's definitely not 6 successes. I don't even know if there's 3 successes worth or of things to do down here. So... really successful mission. Looking forward to seeing how the ship phase unfolds. A whole bunch of rank ups, including our first level 3. And we'll get into all that in the next session. Again, thanks so much for watching. This was my longest one yet, but hopefully also my most exciting. And as always, give me a thumbs up. Check out my thread on Board Game Geek. Feel free to join the conversation there. And if you spotted anything I did wrong, by all means, let me know. Until next time.